are listening to your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
您正在收听广播中的大脑声音，节目即将开始，敬请享受吧。
Woo! Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Welcome back to your Brain on Air with Ollie Volt Larson. I am that gentleman, Ollie Volt Larson. And I take my vitamins twice a day with water, but here's the key, no ice. We all had a busy as hell weekend, and we got some major headlines while we were out. So guys, I'm not going to waste your time. Let's just hop right into it, because we got too much to share. Let's get into it. Trump announces 100% tariffs on Chinese goods Friday. The stock market collapses $1 trillion over the weekend. Full-blown trade war in action as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So if you were keeping up as well with me, I'm going to be honest with you. I had to go take a dock in this Saturday. I was up at a lake, and I had to go help pull in not just my family's dock and boat lift, but another guy's boat lift. It was just a little ways down the road. But it was honestly not that bad. We got it out in like 5 minutes. But I'm just going to be honest with you. I was off the grid a tad bit. And when I came back on Saturday, I was a little alarmed. But thankfully, I don't have anything in Robinhood. I don't have anything invested. Otherwise, I'm sure I would have had a much worse Saturday than a lot of people. Oh, and if I was involved in Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrency markets, because those got shredded yesterday, the last few days. It's been... Guys, all right, let's continue. In October 2025, the global financial markets were rattled after former and current President Donald Trump has announced a dramatic escalation in trade tensions with China. Specifically, he proposed slapping 100% tariffs on all Chinese imports starting November 1st, a move he claimed was in retaliation for Chinese export restrictions on rare earth metals, critical to U.S. tech and defense industries and such. The announcement came during a campaign stop and caught markets off guard, triggering what many analysts described as the most aggressive tariff threat since the original U.S. trade war during President Trump's original term, as everybody probably can remember. To make matters worse, Trump added that the U.S. would also impose new restrictions on export of critical software to China, signaling a deepening economic standoff between the two world's largest economies. So... yeah, as we said Friday, things are tightening up, guys. So we're restricting that software. They're like, fuck you guys. We're restricting that hardware. So there's a hard soft pull here. America's going soft. In China, they're good at going hard. You know what I mean? They're giving it to us hard. So what's the response here? The stock market responded violently. Within hours of the announcement, all three major U.S. indices plunged. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped by nearly 879 points, while the S&P 500 sank by over 2.7, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ fell more than 3.5% in total. Sell-off wiped out more than an estimated $1.5 trillion in market value, making it one of the sharpest one-day losses since the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, this is unprecedented. This is crazy. We are going out there. We are really, guys, we're putting the full foot on the pedal, and we are headed towards a cliff. And I'm just going to say it. I think the time is now. We gotta start pressing the brakes a little bit, or we have to, I'm just gonna say it, we have to jerk the wheel from the person who's attempting to steer us off a cliff. Technology and semiconductor stocks were particularly hard hit, as these sectors are heavily reliant on Chinese manufacturing, and they're very vulnerable to global supply chain disruptions in general. The abrupt shift in tone from the Trump campaign, who only weeks earlier hinted that a possible trade compromise was in the works, spooked both institutional and retail investors who rushed to reduce exposure to risk assets. However, the fallout wasn't limited to traditional markets. The cryptocurrency sector suffered an even more dramatic crash, which some outlets dubbed the worst day in crypto history. Within just 24 hours of the tariff announcement, more than $19 billion worth of leverage in crypto positions were liquidated, effectively nearly 1.6 million traders worldwide. According to data from CoinGlass, I was not going to pronounce that right. I was going to say Coinalingus. In just the first hour, a staggering 7 billion in crypto positions were wiped out. Bitcoin plummeted 10%, briefly dipping around $103,000. Wow, that's low. While other major tokens like Ethereum and Solana lost 14 and 20%, respectively. The total crypto market dropped nearly 4.3 trillion, dropped from 4.3 trillion to 3.74 trillion, erasing over half a trillion dollars of value in a single day. Wowie, zowie. Let's go to a clip from CBS News. Why not?
Take a live look at the Dow that has taken a pretty sharp dip this morning after starting in positive territory.
Holy
the markets
shit.
seem to be reacting to a Truth Social post from President Trump that threatens higher tariffs on China. The president put out a lengthy Truth Social post, and the Dow keeps going down since this.
All right. Quote, this is from @RealDonaldTrump. Depending on what China says about the hostile, quote, order that they have just put out, I will be forced as the President of the United States of America to financially counter their move. For every element that they have been able to monopolize, we have two. I never thought it would come to this, but perhaps as with all things, the time has come.
In part, this is what the president had to say. It's right.
God damn it! Why did I do this if he's just going to read it?
The time has come. So let's talk about this. Going live to Washington and CBS News.
You know what? You need to hear her opinion. I'm going to leave this in the description. Anyways, as you can see, this is not going to go great. The response, guys, buy gold. Hold on to your assets. The price of gold surged here. And by the way, this is the time for like risky investments. This is advice. This is not solicited. This is like, listen, I'm just talking. And if you choose to listen to me, that's not my fault. Is that my fault? I'm offering this advice to nobody. And this advice is not even advice. It's literally like a way to ruin your life. But I don't know though. I'm going to end it with, but I don't know though. This is the time to start buying maybe Amazon. Listen, buy old reliables. Buy old reliable stocks where you know that they're going to climb back up after this dip is dramatically, after it's done, after this is all settled. Some smart investors are going to have their pocketbooks lined. So don't worry about it. And if you're like me and you don't understand the market whatsoever and your best exposure to that is that one the movie, what's it called? It was all about the GameStop crash. I don't even remember the name of the movie, but that's my large extent of my exposure. And I watched Wolf of Wall Street once, and it was pretty good. It's severely overrated by straight men, but it's fine. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's not masterful. It's not like a masterpiece. It's honestly just okay. War Dogs is a better movie. Watch War Dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, War Dogs with Miles Teller and Jonah Hill is a much better movie with Jonah Hill in it and him having like a skinnier, taller friend who's like, and they get involved in crime. That movie is objectively so much better. It takes place in the 08 to 06s in like fresh Iraq, Afghanistan war, all that kind of bullshit. It takes place, they are gun runners. It's a great movie. I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but it is 10 times better than whatever some guy named James is trying to peddle to you, that it's like, oh man, Wolf of Wall Street, it's like the greatest movie of all time. It made me want to be a finance bro and start doing Zen. Anyways, this is not the first time that Trump's tariffs policy have caused a market chaos like this. Earlier in April, he announced the sweeping tariff plan under the banner of the Economic Independence Day, which included like the 10% tariff and specific hikes on Chinese goods. So he's not a stranger to these sorts of things. Guys, hold on to your pocketbooks. Don't invest and... clock your tea. That's all I'm going to say is just clock your tea. Clap if you care. Actually, this is a great way to end the segment. Clap if you care about the stock market. All right, let's move on. 16 people died in a blast at Tennessee explosives factory early Friday, sheriff says. Guys, I'm sorry I didn't cover this on Friday. Normally, this is exactly the sort of thing that I want to talk about, but I'm just going to be honest with you. I missed it. I don't know how I missed it, but you know what? we're covering it today. A powerful explosion rocked a munitions plant in Humphreys County, Tennessee, on the morning of October 10th, killing 16 people and leveling part of a facility operated by the Accurate Energetic Systems, a company that manufactures military-grade explosives. So, kind of exactly what I was just talking about. War dogs, it's the weapons manufacturing industry, it's the industrial war complex. Guys, by the way, when war is coming, because there's the talk is out there, guys, gas is going down to $2. Do you know what that really means? That's code for we're going to war sometime soon. That's code for we just found an oil deposit and we just found natural gas deposits and we are moving in, and guess what? Your boy from Kansas is going to be on the front line for us, because what else would we do? When we discover something that great, you expect us not to take advantage of it? We have hundreds of years of experience doing it, bitch. Of course we're gonna. The blast, felt for miles, destroyed a building and scattered debris across the area, forcing emergency crews to proceed with extreme caution due to the presence of unstable materials. Rescue efforts have since shifted to recovery, and federal agencies, including the FBI and the ATF, are investigating, though the exact cause remains unknown. Controlled detonations are now underway to safely dispose of the remains. The 1,300-acre site has a history of smaller incidents, including a fatal explosion in 2014, and the current disaster has devastated the tight-knit rural community. Vigils have been held for the victims. Schools and churches are offering counseling, and identification of the remains is ongoing using rapid DNA testing. This is some, middle of nowhere place in Virginia. They're never going to figure out, not Virginia, Tennessee. They're never going to figure out everybody. They're not going to know everything. And DNA testing, they can't even catch the killer on Broadway. I'm going to keep bringing it up until he's caught that day. Tyreek Jones, I'm going to find you one day. Tyreek Jones, black gentleman, 20s, you know what I mean? He's tall. Keep your eye out for him. He killed 2 people on Broadway. Keep your eyes out. Anyways, authorities warn that the cleanup and investigation could take months. While no foul play has been confirmed, nothing has been ruled out. This tragedy marks one of the deadliest industrial incidents in the state's recent history. Wowza. That's I'm so sorry for the victims. This sucks. I'm glad that the community's coming together. It's like Derry. It's like Derry, Maine in It, when the one factory exploded on Easter. Is that what happened in the movie? I don't know. I don't even know. They're having a new TV show coming out. I'm trying to talk about something else because this is just a tragic situation, and really, in situations like this, what else am I supposed to really say? You know what I mean? Shit blew up. They have a history of this. All right. That's about it. It's a bomb factory. Sometimes they're going to blow. What do you expect? Chips spilled on the floor at a Lay's Frito factory. What do you want me to say? Anyways, I think that something fun to do before we get into our third story, and then eventually for your consideration, we can jump early actually today. This is early. What can I say? My energy's up, and we got through our first 2 main stories. Let's head into the rapid fire section today. All right. If you don't know already, the rapid fire section is just where I list off today's headlines, or at least a few that I was able to grab, and I think they're the most important that you should know about today, at least if you're out there in the world and living, and you should know about this stuff. Let's get to it. Boom! First story. All living Israeli hostages released in Gaza-Israel swap. Wowie zowie. Guys, did we ever see this happening? Did we even think that there were any alive left? This is crazy. Mad progress. Anyways, Hamas hands over the remaining 20 hostages after more than 2 years. Israel releases nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners in return. Wow, guys. Actually, I do have a clip. We have a clip from Mr. Trump addressing the Israel Knesset, calling the ceasefire, quote, the end of an age of terror. In a dramatic speech, he said to lawmakers that it is a new dawn for the Middle East. Let's begin.
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, esteemed members of the Knesset and cherished citizens of Israel, we gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
You're going biblical. We're thanking Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob. That's cool. All right. He's just being proud of himself. This is so loud.
After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious.
What is with the fucking Herbert the pervert? That old man S sound that he's doing. I'm really sick of it. I should say.
28 more precious loved
loved
ones are coming
ones.
home at last to rest in this sacred soil.
Sacred
For
soil.
all of time.
All of time.
And after so many years of
unceasing
danger,
war and endless
today
danger.
the skies are calm, the
Skies-
guns are silent,
the
the
sirens
sirens are still,
Sirens
and
are
the
still.
sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land
How did they not cut his mic? It's so loud.
and a region that will live, God willing,
God willing,
in peace for all eternity.
for all eternity.
The hostages are back. The hostages are back.
The hostages are back. Stand up, Bibi Netanyahu. Stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to leave it at that because, quite honestly, this clip is long and it's just the circle jerk where I never understood why we as people love to do like ceremonies. We love to like stand in rooms where awkwardly like 3 people will stand at the front and then 20 or 30 people will all be sitting in chairs, and then we just watch people talk about, we're honored today to be here with the Glandry Committee for today's bird ceremony. Like the most bullshit. We have ceremonies over the stupidest nonsense where it's like, Itasca is doing so-and-so, or it's a 5th grade graduation. Why do we like doing that? Why as a species do we enjoy so much that you just, I don't know, think about it. Anyways. Global markets show instability as the Bank of England issues a warning. Despite a recent stock rebound in global whatever it's called, the global financial system faces instability risks per the BOE governor. Okay, cool. Bank of England, I learned something about the Bank of England once or twice, and that was from the movie Mary Poppins, which is you can put tuppence in your bank account, and apparently it'll be like millions of dollars by the time you're old. At least that's what I heard. The pound sterling is like, it used to be the envy of the world. I'm not buying anything in pounds lately. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? I'll use yen before I use pounds. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobel Prize in Economics awarded for work on, quote, creative destruction. The 2025 prize goes to Joel Mokyr, I don't know. Philip Agoshin, oh my God. Agoshin, these people have way too, listen, their names are great. I personally, I'm too westernized. I apologize for this. And Peter Howitt, see, that's an easy one. You start with all of these, whatever, and then you give me the easy one at the end, so I look like a real asshole. For their research in innovation and economic growth. Good for them. I'm happy for them. All the Trump supporters were expecting it to go to Trump because of the negotiations in the Middle East. And then you see on Twitter, people are doing, peace is the real prize. Don't worry about it, Dad. They really don't know what they're missing out on. Anyways, Nor'easter forces cancellation of NYC Columbus Day Parade. Severe weather and the state of emergency in New York lead organizers to cancel one of the city's biggest public events. The Columbus Day, we're back. Italians, we're back. I loved when he made that announcement because apparently Columbus is a deeply prideful figure for a lot of Italians. I mean, discovering the Americas in the sense of he didn't land on the American shoreline, the United States shoreline, but he did land on Cuba. He jumped around the Caribbean, you know what I mean? And then he killed a bunch of natives, but if he's your symbol, if he's your cultural symbol, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Sure, if that's who you want to, You know, that's like Wisconsinites choosing Dahmer. He's like he's a great representation because he really took power in certain situations. Literally whatever. The government shutdown continues. Excuse me. We're in our 13th day, guys. People are still not getting paid. Isn't that nuts? Isn't that crazy? You go to get your license renewed and you're like, hey, are you getting paid? And they're like, no, I have to come to work. There's an increase in calls in sick, which I've said before is the move. The federal layoffs and agency cuts escalate. The United States federal government is 2 weeks into a funding lapse with layoffs hitting agencies, including the CDC. Guys, you know RFK is going to figure that out. You know that, listen, as long as public health is in his hands, we have nothing to worry about, right? That's what we've learned. India, Australia commenced joint military exercise, Austrihind 2025. The bilateral exercise begins in Perth, focusing on operational coordinates and defensive cooperation. So, you know, they're doing a bit of show offs, you know what I mean? Good for them. If that's what they want to do, India, Australia, keep your eyes on them. Global leaders meeting on women kicks off in Beijing. Heads of state and international figures gather in China for high-level conference on women's issues. You know, whatever that means. I'm curious what global leaders would have to say on women's issues, given that women's issues seems to vary so much by country. You go to here and we're worried about workplace harassment. We're worried about, you know, the pay gap that really doesn't honestly exist anymore because you cannot legally pay people of, this two different sexes, two different wages that are doing the same job. That's just not factually true. But like in regards to that, our issues look like that over here. In other countries, it's like, are you allowed to show your face in public? You know what I mean? So I'm curious what global leaders, especially in the Far East, have to say on women's issues. That is deeply curious. But coming from a deeply, I'm just going to say it. America's not one to talk on a misogynistic culture, but when it comes to misogynistic cultures, China, Korea, they are up there. Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you clearly haven't been watching enough Stephanie Sue. Listen, the amount of disdain certain high up men do have for women in those countries is intense. And you want to talk even further? Go to the Middle East. And then you will see a genuine, and then there is a narrative of we like it. We like the niqab. We like having to cover our faces and everything. If that's what you said, if that's what your mother said before you, and her mother said before you, and her mother said before you, I'm sure that's what you think. That's great. And if they want to live that way, absolutely, in their countries, absolutely they can. If they're coming to a world leader conference to speak on women's issues, I'm just curious how far they're really going to make it in that conference. It's just funny to me, the idea of, it's just, listen, I know Americans are not normally ones to criticize, but as someone who is generally, I try to be as aware as possible, just, the Far East making a conference on it versus, somewhere, where women's, issues have actually been furthered, further than at least they have in those countries, you can say. You know what I mean? There's an odd angle there. But you know what? I'm glad it's happening, and I hope that we were there. That's my thing. Anyways, guys, we're on to our third story because it's time to throw away those headlines. It's time we did the rapid fire section. We got to talk in depth about this because I touched on this last week, but it is an alarming trend in the sense where six or seven people, Jesus, have maybe been truly affected by it in the history of ever. But more people are doing it now. Just as the way that Tide Pods was a thing where maybe 6 or 7 people did it, but now we just have to talk about it because there's so many. Apparently there is still that many people that will be wiped out by true natural selection. 2 girls dead of subway surfing in Brooklyn are mirroring an online trend and is resulting in increased deaths. This is just factually true, guys. I'm gonna throw it to Eyewitness News ABC.
Was just 12 years old. Her friend was just 13. Both were found dead at a subway station in Brooklyn. The tragedy, a grim reminder of the danger of this dangerous stunt, largely fueled by videos posted on social media.
5 people have died this year compared to 6 last year, according to the NYPD.
So not 6 or 7. I was wrong. 11 people. 2024 had 6. 2025 had 5. it's a decrease. That's good by 1.
And police have made more than 100 arrests this year. In fact, just this morning, police drone video spotted 2 boys on top of a train in Queens.
Wow.
Our news reporter Kimberly Richardson spoke exclusively with the family of one of the 2 girls who were killed. Kim Jones live in Williamsburg with their
She spoke with one of the sisters of the girls killed.
Mike and Sade Zemfira was supposed to turn 13 years old October 17th, but instead died here. Police say subway surfing with a friend.
4 days. A happy early birthday.
Her family is devastated, making arrangements way too soon. With her parents' permission, I spoke with Zemfira's little sister, who assured me everything will be okay.
Oh my God, if I die early and the news comes to my family and they're like, hey, can we talk to his little sister? I'm so terrified for what that's going to be. I'm that would be hilarious, just to think of how my sister would have to memorialize me in a second. Just the idea of what may come to her mind. Anyways, let's get a clue as to what younger sisters have to say.
She was just always there for me. Like, she was everything for me.
A little girl.
She was like always there for me. Like, she was like always there, like she was like always there, and she like never left me alone.
Facing the biggest loss of her life, 11-year-old Miriam Mintarov tells me her 12-year-old sister Zemfira was her best friend.
Been exploring all NYC.
But when her mom saw this video on TV Saturday, her heart sank.
Holy.
With her parents' permission, Miriam spoke with me.
And I was like, look, that's her skateboard and that's her coach bag. And I'm like, that's her.
The soon-to-be...
Look, that's her skateboard, that's her coach bag, that's her, I swear it is. Wait a minute, you weren't concerned about your daughter going missing for hours potentially. You were concerned when you saw her bag and her skateboard on the news. No, not even you, your daughter had to see it. Can we speak to the parents? I'm just gonna say, can we speak to the parents of these people? Because honestly, there's a reason for maybe not DHS. It's what's it called? Child Protective Services. There we go. I got it.
The 13-year-old had been killed subway surfing in Brooklyn on a J train. It was 3 a.m. at the Marcy Avenue subway station. The 8th grader was with another girl, a 13-year-old, who Miriam says her sister recently met on social media. Friday night, the sisters were together at their home in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Man. Anyways, this is just something that I think that we should key into our kids' heads. If you have kids, if you have nephews, if you have anything like this. Subway surfing, it's a fun video game. I like it. It's got the cop, everything like that. Subway surfing, it's a highly dangerous trend. Teenagers, they are getting on the exterior of moving subway trains, such as like the roof and shit. They're climbing in between the cars. They're clinging on the sides, and it's gaining genuine popularity through TikTok and Instagram. I'm seeing it everywhere, where they're genuinely filming themselves performing these stunts for views and fame. It's like, Tom Cruise level stunts, and they're like 16. I get that this is probably better than going and filming fight videos after school at like McDonald's or something. I understand this is probably better than that, but I don't understand, like, even when I was a kid, I did this. I don't get why kids just feel the need to put themselves in unnecessary harm's way when they just want to have fun. I get the thrill, like, you gotta feel like your heart race and all that shit. But man, this is smoke weed or drink behind your parents' back. That's what I did. But like, don't do like dangerous shit. Don't be like riding on top of cars. Don't be, oh my God, this is one story that'll always haunt me forever in my head. My English teacher once there was a video going around the school of these guys. They were riding on top of the car. They were like, whatever, in the school parking lot. Then they were having a fun time whipping shitties, going in circles. And then, this teacher, he finds this video online and then pulls one of the kids up in class, in the middle of class. And he's like, he shows him the video that he finds. And then he looks him dead in the eyes and he says, one of my friends in high school did this exact same thing. The car rolled over and crushed his head and killed him. I looked around the classroom and every girl's mouth, guys were covering their faces. Girls had their mouths agape. It was shocking. And then the guy is standing up there, he's going like, oh, what? And he's like, do you think it's funny or cool to do that? And he was like, no, man, it was just like, you're just having fun, man. And he's like, yeah, it always starts out with fun. And he just served this kid his ass in front of the entire goddamn class. And it was funny as hell to watch. I'm not even going to lie. But I love teachers who are willing to like instill the fear of God in children. This is genuine. We don't have enough. And this is why kids are going crazy. This is why kids are killing each other. This is why kids are trying to film like deaths and like, what's it called? They're like literally going around in gangs and they're fighting each other after school because they have nothing better to do. This is like, instead of like getting their minds rotted on YouTube, they decided we're going to go back to the old school ways of switchblades and haircuts. Like we're going to do the greasers are back. The 50s are back. I'm not even going to lie, among these fucking like kids, except none of them can read. That's what sucks, is none of them can read. They just yell slurs at you and then expect you, like they just give you a look. It's the Gen Z stare. The Gen Z stare is a real thing. Anyways, kids these days are insane. It's because of, they're constantly terrified of getting shot in schools. Their lives are not, they're on SSRIs, they're on medication. People are pilling them up from the day that they're born because we don't know why they're acting up. We don't know why you can't just sit still and pay attention, so let's give you a pill. Like, kids these days are overprescribed dramatically and by the way, overdiagnosed in order for their parents to also get a cut via the state money. We covered that a few episodes back when they were registering a bunch of those families for state benefits, and it turns out none of the kids actually were autistic. They were getting the kids registered autistic, and then this woman was collecting all the funds. It ended up smuggling millions of dollars from the state of Minnesota. We're catching these people day by day, and the only reason that North Dakota hasn't had a scandal like this crack, Minnesota only bothered to start paying attention because we just all were up here with a bunch of Finnish people, a bunch of Norwegians and Indians, and we were dancing, we were eating rice, wild rice soup, and we were going, we're like California, but we have mild democratic socialism, and we dance and have fun, but we're getting robbed by the millions from our government, and it's not even a joke anymore. And it's everybody. It's not if you're black, it's if you're white, if you're Indian, no matter what you are, they are stealing from you. They are stealing millions of dollars from you. It's your neighbors. It is the con men and women who will sign up a family for government assistance when the child isn't even autistic, and they will network. They will get hundreds of people signed up for these programs just to steal your money. They will do this just to steal. And by the way, this is why people hate the government and why a lot of people hate taxation systems, because they don't know where all of this shit's being funneled to. Anyways, we're going on a rant. I think that we should tie up today's episodes with a nice For Your Consideration. Welcome to the For Your Consideration segment, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to talk about a topic that's recently touched my heart very dearly, and I actually would love to share some research that I've gone into with this with you all today. So, this is a topic near and dear to my heart. I've lived in the north area of Minnesota, so I've had to worry about Lyme disease in particular from ticks my entire life. Deer ticks, if you're from this area, you know about them. You're told to watch out for them. And they're not like the normal ticks where they're like bigger and they're black. They're tiny and they have that specific whatever, that speck on them, the speckled pattern on them. Anyways, I would love to talk about Lyme disease. Where did it come from and why you should be concerned? The idea that I want to convey to you is that this tick-borne illness caused by a bacterium, Borrelia burgdorferi, originated not from nature. This is not a sort of like a, this is sort of sprung up from, it evolved from some pathogen and it was a natural strain off from that. That is a lot of some people's knowledge and even interpretation because they haven't bothered to look into the history even remotely. I am here to pose to you that this disease, instead of originating from nature, originated from a United States government experiments lab at Plum Island Animal Disease Center, located off of Long Island, New York, and was either intentionally released or accidentally leaked, and has been circulating throughout our nation at least roughly since the 1960s. 70s. This is Lyme disease cases in particular surge in Old Lyme, Connecticut, about 10 miles from the island, adjacent, directly across the bay. This is, listen, in order for you to understand this, we're going to have to go into some research. We're going to have to go into some delving. Lyme disease cases particularly began to surge, and they began in Lyme, Connecticut. That's the reason where it gets its name. The first recognized cluster was in 1975, about 10 miles from the island, as I previously said. Proponents of this, like me, that this is too damn coincidental. There is alleged bioweapon research, by the way. Declassified documents confirm Plum Island's Cold War era work under the United States Army's biological weapons program up until 1969, including tick-related studies. A 2008 Government Accountability Office report noted lax biosecurity with incidents like a 1978 foot and mouth outbreak escape. So a disease that would directly affect people, you know what I mean? That's exactly what it says. There's whistleblower accounts of ticks being bred with pathogens, implying that like Borrelia could have been weaponized and could have been implanted in these ticks. The bacterium's namesake, Willy Bergdorfer, who isolated Bergdorfer in 1982, worked at the Rocky Mountain Labs, not in Plum Island, but consulted on tick research. Conspiracies amplified in things like Bitten claim that he was admitted into bioweapon research involvement in off-record interviews, suggesting that Borrelia, I cannot pronounce this goddamn thing right, but if you look up what the proper name of it is, I'm not fluent in Latin, was engineered from a syphilis strain for insect vectors. This is from their claims. This is from unaired off-record interviews. There's strange accounts of animal die-offs on nearby islands, likely, but this is, by the way, that are closed to the public for research purposes. And in 2004, a USDA investigation into Plum Island's waste disposal practices found significant worries. So these people are mad scientists sitting on this island and this is their official title, PIADC, Plum Island Animal Disease Center. It is recently, and as of late, it is being dismantled, and there are currently no endemic or epidemic researches being handled at that place. It was established back in 1954, and these, by the way, the confirmed bioweapon research that we know of was from 1954 to 1969. That is all that is confirmed. But as we know, the government is never interested in telling you the full extent of their research. They're never interested in revealing to you what are we cooking up on islands in order to potentially have to avoid wars? You know what I mean? We don't want to have to drop another nuclear bomb. That's going to be ridiculous. We're going to drop a bioweapon next time that, hey, if Venezuela gets its hands on nuclear weapons in some other world, do you really think that we would ever risk going in, or with troops on the ground with United States badges on their sleeves, or would we drop a tick into their forest that would wipe out the entire civilization? What is honestly, tell me which the United States government, given their practices in Central and South American countries and all over the world, which would to them sound most appealing? Lyme disease, personally, I think that, and by the way, don't trust me. Do not trust me. According to government declassified research, this is what was going on at the animal research facility: foot and mouth disease research, rinderpest, African swine fever, vesicular stomatitis, avian influenza, and classical swine fever. There was no official research that they were doing anything on humans. It was purely animal. This, ladies and gentlemen, 10 miles being released, guys, let's plant this off there's plenty of hunters out in Connecticut. They go hunt deer. Let's plant a deer tick with this specific strain. Let's see how it affects the people. Let's see how it spreads through the population. And by the way, cases only continue to go up. This is an incident where we have to talk about Nazi involvement here. Proponents also claim that Enrich Traub, a Nazi virologist and bioweapons expert who specialized in animal viruses like foot and mouth disease, was recruited under the United States Operation Paperclip. Traub allegedly became Plum Island's lab chief in the 1950s and conducted experiments like infecting ticks with pathogens for weaponization. Guys, don't trust me. Don't trust me that Nazis were working at this place. Look it up. Look up if Plum Island had Nazi researchers working on animal tick-based pathogens and for weaponization. Look this up. Do not trust me. This link is absolutely suggested. They're working on insects. They're working by the way, open air tick experiments have been done routinely by the United States military from the 50s to the 60s, including dropping uninfected pathogen-laden ticks over in aircrafts over U.S. sites like Dugway approving ground in Utah, just for study dispersal. So listen, this could involve Borrelia or similar agents with escapes leading to Lyme disease's emergence. Listen, if you don't trust me, I don't blame you whatsoever. But for your consideration, look into Lyme disease. Look into the 2019 congressional investigation order that happened in July, where the United States House of Representatives passed an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, sponsored by Representative Chris Smith, requiring the Department of Defense Inspector General to investigate whether the Pentagon experimented with ticks or insects or biological weapons careers between 1950 and 1975. And if any ticks were released, intentionally or accidentally, outside of the labs of Plum Island. So, listen, if you want to look into that all yourself, do it. Like I said, this was just for your consideration. And actually, I think with that, this has been a mad episode. This has been insane. I've had a good time with y'all. This has been a too news-laden day. I'm excited for tomorrow. Let's see what comes up. I want to hop off this mic because I know that I've taken too much of your time as is, and I've ranted too much, quite frankly. I'll come at you with more organized thoughts tomorrow. That's my promise to you. Subscribe if you enjoyed it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Brain on Air with Ollie Vogt Larson. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll catch you Tuesday. Bye-bye.